Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about Spider-Man Unlimited. So Spider-Man Unlimited came back out in 1999, and I remember it very well. A lot of people have forgotten about this cartoon. However, because of Disney Plus and it being on Disney Plus, a lot more people are watching it now. And I remember when this came out, I remember thinking to myself, man, the suit is like amazing. I'm all like, why did they go in such a weird plot and everything, like the story wise and everything? The storyline is very out there. It's very comic booky and stuff. And it was nothing like the original Spider-Man cartoon that came out years prior. And I remember after Spider-Man anime series ended, I was really missing Spider-Man. And then they had reruns on another channel with Spider-Man and his amazing friends. I got to watch that for the first time, but I was kind of like, oh man, this is so old, but it's interesting. Then this came out. And this had a very unique style, a very unique feel. And a lot of people actually hate this cartoon, but I actually like it and everything. I don't love it and stuff like that, but I really, 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 really like it. I think it's very interesting and very creative and stuff. And it's a whole lot better than some of the newer Spider-Man cartoons that Marvel has pushed out lately and stuff. But the problem that people don't understand with this is that think of it as a Elseworld type story, That's basically what it is. Like it's just like another universe, like comic book type thing, and where everything's like different. And people should really think about that. The main villain is the High Evolutionary, and he does exactly what he does in comic books. He turns people into animals, he turns animal into animal people, and he does lots of bad stuff. That's pretty comic book accurate. Spider-Man still acts like Spider-Man. He's saving the day and everything. That's pretty accurate and stuff. And but I can understand why people are have some disdain to this season or this series, I should say, because I mean, it was very different from just a few years ago when Spider-Man the anime series got canceled and stuff. And so with this, a lot of people think that this is just a ripoff of Batman Beyond, and I can totally see why. The future looking vibe it has, the flying cars, both Batman and Spider-Man suit are black and red, but technically Spider-Man's suit is blue and red. It just has like a shadowy, like silhouette type vibe over it and stuff. And so I totally get that, you know what I'm saying? But now that is a good possibility, but I don't really think they was trying to necessarily rip that off. And the reason for that is this. See, they wanted to make a new Spider-Man series based off the 26 issues of The Amazing Spider-Man. And the concept they wanted to use was that yes, still Spider-Man goes to Counter Earth and he encounters Ben Parker, Uncle Ben and everything. And so with that, is it? No, I don't think it's Uncle Ben. I think okay, it's one of the two. I think he meets Ben Parker, and that Ben Parker, Uncle Ben never died, and so at some point when Venom takes over, that Spider-Man never becomes corrupt. But Marvel didn't like the idea of having two Peter Parkers on the same Earth. Plus, also, they was getting ready to make their live-action Spider-Man movie with Sony, and they did not allow them to use any of the material from the comic books. They weren't even allowed to use the suit. In fact, the only time the suit comes up is in the first episode, in the first couple of minutes, and it gets destroyed, the original suit. And they even had to alter the original suit. It has yellow eyes. The blue has a black silhouette around it. So it looks like it's black and red and stuff. The original Spider-Man suit. And so because of that, Saban had to go on a different route. Now, when it comes to that Batman Beyond, once again, see, here's the problem. Batman Beyond came out in January 1999. Spider-Man Unlimited came out in October 1999. And when you make a cartoon series, from what Bruce Timm says, it takes many, 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 many months to make. They have to get the concept art, they have to send it overseas to be drawn, it has to be animated, and they have to dub over the voices and stuff, make sure it matches up. And so there's no way that they could have probably seen Batman Beyond, and then decided to pitch their idea and come up with the concept and everything. Because they didn't use computers with it. They used old school cell animation and stuff. And the thing is, it would have taken too long to do in post, you know what I'm saying? Because they didn't do like with computers. Now, here's the thing. They did have about 10 months to look at Batman Beyond, like, we like this idea. And so, let's create it that way. But there couldn't have been no way, because they would have still had to do this a year prior. So when the people was making Batman Beyond, that was the same time they was making Spider-Man Unlimited. Unless somebody who worked over at DC and stuff like that, and the Batman Beyond probably like, hey, they probably had like a spy or a mole, like, hey, they coming up with this idea of a futuristic Batman and a black and red suit and blah, blah, blah. So they probably told the people over at Marvel with their spies, they're like, okay, let's do something similar. So that could have been a possibility. But I don't think that the reason why they made this show was just to rip off that of Batman Beyond. Because like I said, they had to make it during the same exact time and get it out on airwaves and stuff. Now, ironically, both series ended around the same time. But this don't make no sense. Batman Beyond ended with 3 seasons and a movie, and this show only ended in 1 season, 13 episodes. The reason for that is because it actually got canceled after just a few episodes. It had fair ratings. They weren't terrible, but they weren't great. They were just like in the middle. But the reason why the ratings weren't enough to like keep the show and give it like another season is because of anime. Yes, the same thing that killed Batman Beyond, the same thing that killed the New Adventures of Batman and Superman also killed Spider-Man Unlimited. And that was the craze over that of Pokemon and Digimon. They took over like a storm. And so like a lot of American shows were getting canceled, and as a result, Fox Kids at that time was kind of like, okay, y'all like anime, we'll give you anime. And so next thing you know, from Fox Kids to Fox Bot, it was basically nothing but anime coming on and stuff. And more TV shows took anime type elements and blended them into their shows and stuff. And Teen Titans is evident of that. And so is the 2003 Ninja Turtles and stuff. Now, when it comes to this series, this Spider-Man is supposed to be the same one from Spider-Man the Animated Series. This is technically supposed to be a sequel. Because at the events of the season finale or series finale of Spider-Man the Animated Series, Peter Parker goes to the multiverse looking for Mary Jane. Mary Jane is now back on Earth and everything, and her and Peter are living together because years have passed by. However, there are things in this show that don't make no sense, that contradict it being a sequel. And they even try to replicate some events that happened in Spider-Man the Animated Series with that of Venom and the black suit, but they alter it to make it fit more of their style, their art style, and even the Man Spider. And so the art style on this is very unique. It's different from Spider-Man the Animated Series. It has more of a comic book look with really dark shadow like shading and everything. But the art style is like really cool. Like if you love comic books, it looks just like the comic books. But let's get into the new suit. My God, I fell in love with this suit when I saw it. I said, old Spider-Man suit, goodbye. This suit is nanotech based. He wears a little a wristwatch, and he activates the nanobots. He took it from the labs of Reed Richards and stuff. And so like when he activated, it just, morphs onto like his body, grafting and everything. And it's really cool visually and stuff. They're like nanofibers, he says. Now the suit, it looks like it's all black and red. But like I said before, it's actually blue, but it's the shadow silhouette and everything. But anyway, so let's just say black and red. It's black. The head is red. It has a giant red spider in the middle and everything. The back, I can't remember if the back of the spider's blue or red. There are giant like red spiders on the forearms of the wrist and everything, and it just has like red like padding here and there, and it's just like very, very, very eye appealing and everything. Now one thing they added I particularly did not like was the kind of like invisible web cape that he wears in the back. I don't particularly like that. I don't like the idea of Spider-Man wearing a cape. However, after all these years, and everything, I've kind of warmed up to it a little bit, which really made me upset when Into the Spider-Verse they said Spider-Man doesn't wear a cape, and then they show an outfit where he wears a cape, but it was not this suit. But this suit, it has been shown some love again. Like they made a comic book series after this television series, and also it's been in one of the newer Spider-Man PS games. Now the suit has a lot of cool features in it. So to fight the symbiotes, because that's one reason why he made this suit after the old one got destroyed, because of the symbiotes. So he has this type of like sonic waves that create like, noises that hurts the symbiotes ears and stuff, and causes them pain. So like, but that feature gets like broken after like the second episode, but then he brings it back towards like the end. It has a cloaking feature in it that makes them go like invisible, but it has like these cool, but here's the thing, when it goes invisible, that's probably why I thought the spider was blue. Okay, so the back must be red. The spider symbol on the back is red, but when he cloaks, all his red stuff turns blue, and it has like this wavy effect in the suit that's like really cool. And it has like these like kind of like darts that shoot out. Some of them explode. It has like spider trackers in it. It has a built-in like what them things called web shooters, because we never get to see the web shooters. They're just built into the suit. And it also has impact webbing. And so yeah, I see why people think this is a rip of Batman Beyond, because his suit is very high tech. His suit's very high tech, and also it cloaks. Like I said before, I bet you anything. Like I said before, they made this around the same time they made the other show. I bet you anything they had a mole or a spy that leaked out information about the Batman Beyond suit. This happens a lot in comic books and stuff. Now this Peter Parker appearance is very different. When he's on Counter Earth, he wears like a trench coat and everything, kind of reminiscent of that of Gwen Stacy. But he has weird featherback spiky hair. Like, it's not spiky up, it's like spiky, but it goes side to side and apart. I don't particularly like that, but it does fit this style of like, the show. Now, he is voiced, of course, by a completely different actor. He's voiced by Reno Romaro, an Italian-Canadian actor. And his voice is really cool. It's like, it really fits the show and the way it's drawn. And he has more quirks and like, one-liners and quips than that of like the Spider-Man from Spider-Man the Animated Series. Now the voice actor who voices Spider-Man, he also voiced Batman in the Batman cartoon series. Okay, let me get into some other characters before I tell what the entire plot and what some episodes are like and stuff like that. So you have the reason why he went to counter Earth, John Jameson. And see, what happened is, like, John, they found this weird device out in space. I don't think it was built by them. I think it was built by the other people at counter Earth. And so John was going to go there to investigate until the device and something through it started attacking his shuttle, his space shuttle. And then it drew him in and everything. Now, while this was happening, Peter saw Venom and Carnage go on top of the shuttle. So he changed into Spider-Man and then he hopped on the shuttle. Everybody saw that. Even JJ, Jonah Jameson saw that. And so, of course, you know how he is, talking about, oh, Spider-Man's a menace and this and that. Well, needless to say, they knocked him off. And around that time, that's when the thing started getting attacked. And then so all they saw was it like explode, but they didn't see when it actually went into like the portal dimension. Because of this, they now blame Spider-Man, especially JJ and everything. So because of that, the townspeople are now after him. Whenever he tries to do like his normal, like friendly neighborhood spider stuff during like the day and save people, he is getting attacked by the townspeople. Even the police department, they spray him with the water hose and everything. And so it rips and tears his costume off him. Seeing this, you know, Mary Jane, he stays with her because he needs a place to hide and everything. And so he's determined to get JJ back because he knows then he can clear his name. So what he does is he spent a couple of months working now for NASA because Jameson helped him get that job. And so he's been working there, and then he's been like, you know, oh wait, I'm gonna explain the stinking first episode. I said I wasn't gonna do that yet. But anyway, he makes his suit, he goes to counter Earth, and he looks for Jameson. Jameson has now joined a group of humans on that planet called the Resistance. And because they're resisting the beast people and stuff, Jameson has went from like, you know, a astronaut to just a rebel fighter and a militant man. He runs the entire thing. He couldn't stand by and see all these innocent people be oppressed and everything. He has a short fuse and he will shoot first and ask questions later. And so, like, while he was there on counter Earth for all those months, the High Evolutionary experimented on him and turned him what is better known as Man Wolf, the thing he turns into in the comics. Basically, when his adrenaline, stress, and everything like that goes up, he turns into this like white werewolf type thing. And to suppress it, he has this one doctor that helps him and everything. I gotta say, he turned out to be a very fascinating character. I really liked him. I liked how he put the needs of others before his own. And even when Spider-Man finds him, and Spider-Man's like, all right, look, I got a shuttle and everything, let's get on out of here. And he's like, nah, man, I gotta stay here and help these people. And so, you know, I like that like spirit in him. Dr. Nyoko Yamada Jones. She's this Asian doctor lady that lets Peter stay with her in the apartment because she's renting it out. She has a young son named Shane. She was married, but he like walked off on the family and stuff. And so while there, her ex-husband spies on her. And she doesn't like Spider-Man, but she realizes that he is a hero and stuff. She loves her son to death and will do anything for him. And she is a very skilled doctor. Her and Peter are really good friends. And one time when Peter looked at her, they're never romantic or nothing like that. But whenever he looked at her one time, he saw Mary Jane in her because he just misses Mary Jane. Now, her husband was Hector Jones, known as the Green Goblin on that planet. Shane is their little son. I have no idea what race Shane is. I know he's half Asian because of his mother, but the father confuses me. See, the guy who voices Spider-Man also voices the Green Goblin, his father. And his father's name is Hector. Therefore, you know, he should be half Asian and half Hispanic. But when you look at Shane, he looks like a little black boy, especially with his nappy hair and everything. So that's always confused me. But like, yeah, he's half Asian and he's half like Hispanic. And so like he's a nice young kid. He likes Peter, he likes Spider-Man. And when his mom went missing one time, he tracked her down into the sewers and he didn't care what was down there. He was gonna look for his mom. Now, the Green Goblin, also known as Yamada Jones, this version is a hero and he has a very cool design. Like instead of like the glider, he has like these wings that like come out on his back. And he wears a green and purple suit. However, he has what appears to be greenish skin and pointy ears. I don't know if that's a mask or that's actually his skin. He's very mysterious in the sense that like he was an inventor back in the day, but then something happened to him and he had to leave the family. I think he was working for the resistance at one point and something happened. And so then he just became a vigilante and he looks over like his wife and son as like, you know, even though like he's gone and stuff, and he gets very jealous when any other man comes near that house and stuff, especially that of Peter. And him and Spider-Man don't get along at first until they actually do. But then one thing is interesting, just like the Green Goblin on Peter's Earth, he finds out who Peter really is because he has security cameras everywhere. And Peter went into an alley and came out as Spider-Man. The Vulture. Don't know his real name, but he's a vigilante just like Green Goblin. And he's human, but he wears a costume, but he has been experimented on. Like to have like animal bestial like powers and stuff, and it's because you can tell because his feet look like claws and they have like his hands as well, but it looks like he wears a costume, but his face looks kind of elongated, but he still looks human. And he has these wings. I'm not sure if they're on the suit or if it's just like him, you know what I'm saying? And so like when he was growing up, he used to hang out with Bestial. That's what they call the Beast People and stuff. And he would like, you know, he would hang with them, kind of like in the gang type thing. And he would disrespect that of like other humans. Well, all the disrespect caused him to get experimented on. And so like now he fights against like Bestials and that of the High Evolutionary. Now the Rebellion people. So you have Karen O'Malley, and she has red hair. And one time when Peter looked at her, like he saw Mary Jane in her, and so like she is the love interest of John. But the only thing we really know about her is she's strong, she's intelligent, like she's high, like she has a little bit of a temper, but not really. She hates Bestials, and she's kind of like John's right-hand gal, and second in command. And so, like, the one thing about her that's interesting is that, like, we see flashbacks of her and her family, and her grandfather is the High Evolutionary. He experimented on her, and her father was outraged, but we don't know exactly how she was experimented on. Daniel Bromley. He has, I think, like an Australian accent, and he has a short fused temper. Now, before all this craziness came with the High Evolutionary, well, after it came, his family lived like a pretty good life and everything with the Bestials and stuff. His brother was taken away, and he hasn't seen him since they were like kids or teenagers or something. I think teenagers. And so at one point, when Spider-Man finds him because he had went missing, like he betrayed the Rebellion people because they said, hey, you know, we'll give you back your brother and stuff. Turns out his brother's living it up in like, you know, a factory for the Bestials, and he gets some pretty good perks. And so because of that, his brother has turned his back on humanity. And so he helps Spider-Man, you know, and they fight against his brother and stuff. But he's a really good fighter in the Resistance. Get Hopkins. So he's really interesting. He has bandages wrapped all around his body, similar to Larry of Doom Patrol. And so, like, he never speaks for some bizarre reason. There's one episode devoted to him where we get to see that he was a little kid. And when he saw a bestial, he gave him a piece of candy, and that bestial, like, experimented on him and turned him into some type of mummified type thing. He can control his bandages to wrap around your body or do whatever. He steals this highly explosive substance that they have to get back. He gets so angry he's about to like smash it and stuff, but he decides not to. And he's a really unique character. And I like how they gave him his own solo episode, same with Bromley and stuff. Now, X-51 is one of the machines. Like, over there, the Bestials, they have these machines that do their bidding and stuff. They're kind of like sentinels. And so what's odd about them is that they wear like a belt with pouches and like a vest with pouches and all kind of other stuff. Like, why would a robot wear that? Well, anyway, he's an older model. And so he was in like a what is it called? Like, garbage pile and everything. And he was about to get like, crushed, but he ends up getting saved. And then I think by Spider-Man or something like that. And so him and the Resistance actually fixed him up to where he looks like a newer model. And so he works as like a mole. Now, when they was gonna scrap him, they reactivated something in him where he tried to attack people, and Spider-Man had to fight him. But like I said before, they fixed him up and everything, and so he helps out the Resistance. Every time they start about to get arrested, he comes in and like diverts them and stuff. Now there is a version of Shocker in this, but like, he's an animal, like a bestial type thing. Oh, not Shocker, Electro. And he's basically an electric eel. And he believes in destiny and believes he can be of a higher power and wants to be like one of the elite bestials and stuff like that. The Hunter. Now, this was a really cool, interesting episode. He's based off of Kraven the Hunter. And what's interesting, this is another comparison to Batman Beyond. There's an episode where there's like a hunter and he's hunting down the hero. And, he finds out the hero's like identity and stuff by throwing like a powder on them that illuminates them when they look through a special lens. And so, like, I see why people get the comparison. I bet you anything there was a mole on the set of Batman Beyond and everything. Or I think the Hunter came in season 2, was it? So if that's so, then they had the ability to probably see what happened in season 2. Well, who knows, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, he kidnaps Karen. And so like he, tries to like lure Spider-Man. Now, even though he's human, he's allowed to live above the city and the where all the bestials and stuff. And it's the only like human that like the high evolutionary kind of like respects and everything, that he gets the job done. Spider-Man is able to fool him with the holographic version of Spider-Man as he's like Peter Parker and stuff, because he really thought those two was the same and all this other stuff. Okay, Venom and Carnage, let's just do them together since they are always together and stuff. Basically, they're trying to say that the symbiotes came from Counter-Earth. When they went over there and everything, because they were drawn to it, they found other versions of themselves, but in kind of like a green goop and everything, that they call the synaptic. And so they're trying to harvest the synaptic and make it grow and flourish and stuff like that. They get to feed it, I think in the second episode by Spider-Man, and then they kind of disappear, but they come back every once in a while. At one point, Eddie gets, I think, like really sick, or he's detached from his symbiote, and so he finds Spider-Man, and Spider-Man takes him to where he lives, up with the doctors at and stuff. And he still has hatred for Spider-Man, but then it starts to lessen as the symbiote's away from him. There we get like another retelling of the black suit, but it's very similar to that Spider-Man animated series. They just changed the art design and changed a little bit here and there and stuff, but it's basically the same. And so Spider-Man goes into the bestial laboratory to steal the Venom symbiote, but it's dying. So he gets to put on the black suit. I was so happy when I saw that because I love Spider-Man's black suit. And so Eddie doesn't want the symbiote back, but he has to, like, bond back with it. because I think he'll die without it because he's been with it for so long. And I think Carnage makes him like put it back on or something like that. Now, as for Carnage, um, he's just as evil as like Venom. But here's the one thing that's so weird about them. If this is a sequel, see, they both look extremely different. And not only that, but they have the ability to morph in a liquid kind of state. Like, say they do like the Exorcist type thing where they can twist and turn their head around and twist their body around and contort and everything like that. And it's kind of like, how? Because there's a human body inside that. Unless the human body gets liquefied as well. So that's like a new feature that they did with it that was very unique and interesting. They get captured by the High Evolutionary, and so when Spider-Man at first wanted to try to go home, and then the whole like robot raid and everything like this, um, they tell him because they captured and they got they took the symbiote suits off them, the bestial people did, and so they tell them that even though you freed us, we have a counter agent and stuff. They did something that will activate the synaptic, that where at a certain time it will explode and shoot out spores, and those spores will turn into like symbiote, like Venom and Carnage type people and stuff. And so it ends on that cliffhanger. Now, the High Evolutionary, like I said before, he's from the comics, and he does what he always does. Experiment on humans, he turns animals into beast people and everything. He hates the Resistance, he hates Spider-Man, and he's the one who caused all this crap. And so because of that, the humans no longer live in like the skyscrapers and all this other stuff. They live below like vermin and stuff. Now, his Knights of Wundagore, Lord Tiger, he is the leader, and he's pretty noble and everything. He does the bidding of the bad guys, but he does have like a bit of a conscience. Sir Ram is the worst one of all, and one we see a lot. And he's the one who's always running experiments on people. He's always trying to cut through Spider-Man's suit, and he's just evil as evil can come. Lady Ursula is like this giant teddy bear, and so she's just kind of like really strong, a brute and everything. Lady Vermin, she's just a rat who's always horny and always trying to kiss Spider-Man without his consent. And so back with the pilot and everything, when Spider-Man goes to counter Earth, he's on a rocket ship, and he contacts the people in New York and tells them he's going there to get back Jameson. And then what is it, to like cover up Peter's tracks, because it's kind of like, well, where's Peter Parker at? 'Cause he disappeared, and Peter's all like, and I'm going along with him too and everything. It's like a chance for a lifetime to take tons of pictures. Now, if both Spider-Man and Peter Parker are going to that same place, isn't that kind of suspicious to the point where people might think they're the same? And you know what I'm saying? So I never liked that. I just wish he just would have went and disappeared, because like, who cares, But basically he gets there, he gets in the same tractor beam that Jameson got into, and he gets attacked by the Beast people. When he tells them that he's the friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, they think he's a bestial. So they chase him all around like the city in the sky, and that's when he starts to see more Beast people and freak out. He goes below and he sees where the humans are living on the streets and everything. So he's kind of like, crap, dude, I have screwed up. And so like he gets captured. He's about to get experimented on. And so, but they can't get through his suit. And so basically the Resistance save him, but Jameson's about to shoot him because he's all like, how do I know you're the real Spider-Man? So he proves it, and he asks the Spider-Man to help him fight in the Resistance. So he does. There are episodes where, like, I told you, like, he fights Venom and Carnage. He meets Green Goblin. He tries to steal another shuttlecraft that goes back home because Jameson don't want to leave. So because of that, Peter's like, screw you, I'm just gonna go by myself. But he's not able to and stuff. There's an episode where he gets experimented on where he turns back into like the Man Spider. And it's a different version of the Man Spider than the one we saw in Spider-Man the Animated Series. It looks a lot more spider-like than monstrous and stuff. And so, like, he's basically just like there, and he's saving the people of New York from the bestial people. He's saving them from like the robot men and everything. And so like he's a really good addition to like the freedom fighters. Well, the Lord High Evolutionary gets a little pissed about all of Spider-Man's involvement. So he's trying to track down every member of the resistance. And so he basically like, goes down below and asks the people for like their identification cards and all this stuff. And of course he's screwed because he don't have none of that. And so, the robot men are like everywhere, and it's just robot men versus like, the people, and versus like the resistance, and then it ends on that cliffhanger I told you about. And so, this was a very fascinating, very interesting, and very different Spider-Man series. I get why people wanted a more traditional Spider-Man series. I know I did, but this was really cool and really fascinating. And there's been other Spider-Man series that people haven't particularly liked, like the MTV one, the new Spider-Man's, I think, what was it called? It was called Spider-Man, the new animated series. That only lasted for one season because it was a little too adult. And it just didn't seem as cool. They tried to use some type of weird CGI technology, and it just looked weird. The show was just like okay, but that's just it. And it was also weird hearing Spider-Man cuss and other people cuss in that series. They tried to base it off the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, and it just didn't really come off that well. Of course, there was Ultimate Spider-Man that has divided the fan base. There's Marvel Spider-Man that a lot of people just don't like. But I actually prefer this one and then those other ones I just named, because this was a really cool, unique show, and it had an amazing suit. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.